Hi friends, my name is Harshita and I welcome you all to my channel. Today I will be talking about a law of which we all must be aware of. The reason is to protect our rights and perform our duties perfectly. I will be talking about Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013 with the applicable rules. This act is also known as POSH law. No woman shall be subject to sexual harassment at workplace. This act empowers women to fight against sexual harassment at workplace. Now, if you're a male, you might be thinking that this act is not for you, but that's not right. Awareness of this act is equally important to all of us. A male or a female, a student, a trainee, an employer or an employee, whether you do work from home or you do work from office, this act is equally important. Now, why this act is so important to us, that you will get to know about in this video only, as I will be talking about very important provisions of this act. So before talking about the provisions of this act, let's talk about three most important reasons for the implementation of this act.
First is Article 11 of the Convention on Elimination of All Form of Discrimination Against Women. CEDAW is an international human rights treaty which requires countries to eliminate discrimination against women in all areas and promote equal rights of men and women, which is adopted in 1979 by the UN General Assembly and ratified by the India in the year 1993.
Second important reason is Vishaka guidelines. These guidelines were intended to protect women at workplace. These were instituted by the Supreme Court in the year 1997. These guidelines tell us about some procedures and methods which need to be considered by dealing with the cases related to the sexual harassment of women.
Third is to protect our right under Article 14, 15, 19 and 21 of Constitution of India.
This act came into force on 9th December 2013 and applicable to whole of India. Let's talk about some very important key terms used under this act. Friends, it is not necessary that every act included under harassment is a sexual harassment. So we need to be very clear with the definition of sexual harassment under this act. Sexual harassment include physical contact and advances, a demand or request for sexual favor, making sexually colored remarks, showing pornography, any other unwelcome physical, verbal, non-verbal conduct of sexual nature. This need to be noted that sexual harassment definition is an inclusive definition. That means any act other than all this can also be included in sexual harassment if that act is considered unwelcome by an aggrieved woman. So if there is any unwelcome act which should be included in the definition of sexual harassment according to you, you should definitely inquire. According to Section 3, if there is a case of sexual harassment, then the other circumstances such as if anyone makes a promise of providing some preferential treatment in the employment of the aggrieved woman, or making a threat of detrimental treatment, future employment status, or interference with the work, creating hostile work environment, or any such treatment likely to affect her health or safety, then all these may also be included in the act of sexual harassment. Now, because of Corona, many professions are working from home, and some women are facing another type of sexual harassment, that is online sexual harassment. Some examples of online sexual harassment are getting unwanted video call requests or demand to come online at odd hours, inappropriately dressing up by male colleagues, intentionally or unintentionally passing inappropriate comment during the conference call, sharing of offensive images, videos, website links, memes, etc. online. Now, who is a aggrieved woman? A woman of any age in relation to a workplace, whether employed or not, who alleges to have been subjected to any sexual harassment by the respondent, and in relation to a dwelling place or a house, who is employed in such a dwelling place or house. That means even if someone is not in employment but she visits a workplace and subjected to any sexual harassment, she can complain under this act, and even a domestic worker can complain under this act. Next is workplace, again an inclusive definition. Workplace include any department, organization, undertaking, establishment, enterprise, institution, office, branch or unit which is established, owned, controlled or wholly or substantially financed by the fund provided directly or indirectly by the appropriate government or the local authority or a government company or a corporation of a cooperative society. Any private sector organization or a private venture undertaking, enterprise, institution, establishment, society, trust, non-governmental organization, unit or service provider carrying on the commercial, professional, vocational, educational, entertainment, industrial, health services or financial activities including production, supply, sale, distribution or service. Hospitals or nursing home, any sport institution, stadium, sport complex or competition or game venue, whether residential or not, used for training, sports or other activities relating thereto. Any place visited by the employee arising out of or during the course of employment, including transportation provided by the employer for the undertaking such journey. A dwelling place or a house. Now, what is appropriate government? Appropriate government means in relation to a workplace which is established on, controlled or wholly or substantially financed by the fund provided directly or indirectly by the central government or the union territory administration, then the central government will be the appropriate government. And if it is by the state government, then the state government will be the appropriate government. And in relation to any workplace not covered under subclause 1 and falling within its territory, then the state government will be the appropriate government. Next is employee. Employee means a person employed at a workplace for any work on regular, temporary, ad hoc or daily wage basis, either directly or through an agent, including a contractor with or without the knowledge of the principal employer, whether for the remuneration or not, or working on a voluntary basis or otherwise, whether the terms of the employment are expressed or implied, and includes a co-worker or contract worker, probationer, trainee, apprentice, or called by any other such name. And an employer means a head or an officer, any person responsible, or a person discharging contractual obligation, or who employs or benefits from the employment of the domestic worker. Now, very important question. Where should a woman go if she faces a sexual harassment? The woman will go to the internal committee if the internal committee exists for that workplace. And she will go to a local committee in case there is no internal committee, because it might be because there are less than 10 numbers of employees, or the complaint is against the employer. In case at a workplace, if there is less than 10 number of employees, then it is not compulsory for the employer to constitute an internal committee. But in case if the number of the employees are 10 or more than 10, then it is compulsory for the employer to constitute the internal committee at the workplace. Member of internal committee to be nominated by employer. A presiding officer who shall be a woman at a senior level at a workplace. 2 or more members from amongst the employees, preferably committed to the cause of the woman or who have had experience in the social work or have legal knowledge. 1 member from NGO or associations committed to the cause of women, or a person familiar with the issue relating to the sexual harassment. At least half of the total members so nominated shall be women, and tenure of the presiding officer or member should not exceed 3 years from the date of their nomination. Constitution of Local Complaint Committee. The appropriate government may notify a district magistrate, additional district magistrate, a collector or a deputy collector as a district officer for every district to exercise powers or discharge the functions under this Act. District officer shall constitute in the district concerned a local committee. The jurisdiction of the local committee shall extend to the areas of the district where it is constituted. District officer shall designate 1 nodal officer in every block, taluka and tehsil in rural and tribal areas, and ward and municipality in the urban, to receive the complaint and forward the same to the concerned committee within 7 days. Composition of local committee to be nominated by the district officer. A woman chairman in the field of the social work and committed to the cause of the woman. 1 member who shall be woman and working in the block, taluka and tehsil or municipality in the district. 2 other members, 1 of them should be a woman, and the woman should belong to the SC, ST, OBC or minority community. And the last member is the concerned officer shall be a member of ex officio dealing with the social welfare or the women and the child development in the district. Where a chairperson, presiding officer or member of any committee contravenes the provisions of this Act, has been convicted of an offence, has been found guilty in any disciplinary proceeding or disciplinary proceeding is pending against him, has so abused his position as to render his continuance in office prejudicial to the public interest, such chairperson, presiding officer or member as the case may be shall be removed from the committee and the vacancy shall be filled by the fresh nomination in accordance with the provisions of this section. Complaint of sexual harassment. Complaint should be filed within a period of 3 months from the date of incident or from the last date of incident where the series of incident occur. Ignorantia juris non executed. You cannot make excuses that you was not aware that the complaint should be filed within a period of 3 months and you want to file it after 3 months. Yes, the time period of 3 months can be extended by the further 3 months by the committee, but only when the committee is satisfied that the circumstances were such which prevent the woman from filing the complaint within the prescribed time. Complaint should always be in writing. And in case it is not in writing, the presiding officer or the chairman or any member of the committee shall give the full reasonable assistance to the woman to make the complaint in the writing. Where the aggrieved woman is unable to make complaint on account of her physical or mental incapacity or death or otherwise, her legal hire or such other person as may be prescribed may make a complaint under this Act. If a woman requests, the matter should be decided through the conciliation between a respondent and the woman, provided that no monetary settlement shall be made. Manner of inquiry into complaint. Complainant should give 6 copies of the complaint with the supporting document, name and address of the witness to the committee. Then the committee will give to the respondent 1 copy within the 7 days and the respondent will reply within 10 days. Then the committee shall make the inquiry into the complaint in accordance with the principle of natural justice. The complaint committee can also pass the ex parte decision if the complainant or the respondent fails to present at the 3 consecutive hearings, but the notice should be given to the concerned party in 15 days in advance. The parties should not be allowed to bring in any legal practitioner to represent them in their case at any stage of the proceeding before the complaint committee. In conducting the inquiry, a minimum of 3 members of the complaint committee, including the presiding officer or the chairman, as the case may be, shall be present. Court may order to the respondent to make a payment to the aggrieved woman as per the provision of section 15. The inquiry under this Act should be completed within a period of 90 days. Action during pendency of inquiry. On request of a woman, internal committee or a local committee will recommend to the employer to transfer of the aggrieved woman or the respondent to any other workplace. Grant leave to the aggrieved woman up to a period of 3 months, or grant such other relief to the aggrieved woman as may be prescribed. Leave granted should be in addition to the leave she would be otherwise entitled. The employer shall implement the recommendations and send the report to the internal committee or local committee. Inquiry report. Internal committee or local committee on completion of an inquiry shall provide a report within 10 days from the completion to the employer or district officer, and such report shall be available to the concerned parties. Internal committee or local committee, if conclude that the allegation against the respondent has not been proved, then they will recommend to the employer and the district officer that no action is required to be taken. But in case the internal committee or the local committee conclude that the allegation against the respondent has been proved, they will recommend to the employer or the district officer to take action of the sexual harassment as a misconduct.
The employer or the district officer shall act upon the recommendations within 60 days of the receipt by him.
In case of false or malicious complaint and false evidence, then the action can be taken against the woman as per the recommendation of the committee, provided that a mere inability to substantiate a complaint or provide the adequate proof need not attract action against the complainant. Where, in case any witness has given the false evidence or produced any forged or misleading document, it may be recommended to the employer of the witness or the district officer, as the case may be, to take action in against of him. Notwithstanding anything contained in the Right to Information Act 2005, the content of the complaint, identity and address of the aggrieved woman,
respondent and witnesses, any information related to the conciliation and inquiry proceeding, recommendations of the internal committee or local committee, action taken by the employer or the district officer under the provision of this act shall not be published, communicated or made known to the public, press, media in any manner. Appeal under this act is allowed within 90 days to the court or the tribunal. Duties of employer: provide a safe working environment at the workplace, display at any conspicuous place in the workplace the penal consequences of sexual harassment and the order consisting the internal committee, organize workshop and awareness program at regular interval, provide necessary facilities to the committees, assist in securing the attendance of the respondent and the witnesses before the internal committee or the local committee as the case may be, make available such information to the committee as required, provide assistance to the woman if she so chooses to file a complaint in relation to the offence under the IPC or any other law for the time being in force, cause to initiate action under this Indian Penal Code or any other law for the time being in force against the perpetrator, or if the aggrieved woman so desires, where the perpetrator is not an employee in the workplace at which the incident of the sexual harassment took place. Treat sexual harassment as a misconduct under the service rules and initiate action for such misconduct. Monitor the timely submission of report by the internal committee. Duties and power of district officer: monitor the timely submission of report furnished by the local committee. Take such measures as may be necessary for engaging non-governmental organizations for creation of awareness on sexual harassment and the right of the woman. A penalty of 50,000 rupees can be imposed on the employer if he does not comply with the provisions of this act.
Hope you find this video informative. For more such videos, like, share and subscribe. Thank you.